Okay, let's get it off. Oh. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's the Motivator Show. And I am feeling good today. Hey, I hope you're feeling good. This is the Motivator Show. This is where we translate our words into action. And where, of course, success is ours for the taking. Oh yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I went out for my run this morning. I did my exercises this morning. I feel so invigorated. Oh my gosh, I feel so good. Well, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Let's get the show on the road. First of all, let's give a big rise up for Iron King, who's taken us from night to day from galaxyafui.net, where this show is being transmitted. Also being transmitted, of course, via YouTube, Facebook, and Mixcloud under the Motivator Show. And I like to spread it, ensure you don't get mixed up with other so-called namesakes. There we go. It's DED space Motivator space show. The Motivator Show. So if you're viewing us and hearing us via YouTube, give us a like, the thumbs up, let's do the thumbs up. Look at it on my screen here. There you go. The thumbs up, the like. That's an affirmation. It's an affirmation. We're getting it right. You like the content, or share with your friends and families. Please share the link with your friends and families. And better still, further affirmation that you're notified of future content. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe or become a link on Facebook. Yeah? Let's do that for me, because I'm really pleased with the response to last week and previous week's shows. We are gathering a pace. There you go. Let's take this off the screen, shall I? Let's get off the screen. There you are. There you are. You can see my person directly. Yeah. Really pleased. The content is spreading. The word is spreading. It is clearly obvious that the question of Nigeria should remain a talking point for us all. The most populous country in motherland of Africa. Yeah. About to have its election on the 25th of February. And I want to thank Ndidi. I want to thank Ndidi Showa, for her forthright commentary on the election process, indeed the entire constitution, and how to create a better Nigeria, one that satisfies the needs of all the people, not just some of the people. So we should all pay close attention to what is happening in Nigeria. Absolutely, we should do so. I should at this point just remind people that whilst the election in Nigeria is critical, there's a lot happening in our world right across the world. Yeah, and more of this I'll come to later on in the show. In previous weeks, we did my first show which focused on relationships between men and women in our community. Yeah, really important subject, because the foundation of any community is the family. How those families are constructed, how they function, determines the health not only of the community but of the nation. Yeah. We need to get this right to prepare the next generation so they can advance on the achievements of the current generation. We should be mindful, we should be very mindful of the conditions that we allow our children to occupy. So this will be a recurring theme this year, the family, how to nurture our family, strengthen our families. It will be a recurring theme. Another recurring theme will, of course, be politics and how politics impact our community. Okay. And of course, my favorite and continue to be of real interest, the economics in our community, how we promote our economics, It is simply, he says, do we just say words, hollow words, But yet we go on our high streets and we're not supporting businesses that we should be supporting. And support other people's businesses, and they send their, as a result of our, largesse, they send their children to the best possible schools, give them the best possible life, start in life. I'm only saying, we've got to practice what we preach. This is the Motivator Show, which is where we translate our words into action, and where success is ours for the taking. It's very much a mindset. You've got to think success to be successful. You've got to change your body language to be successful. You change your regular daily habits to be successful. When I say successful, I don't mean purely monetary success. I mean, of course, relationship success, relationship between your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, I mean relationship with those those you consider to be friends. I mean relationship with the wider society, how we interact with those wider society. That's what I mean. We need to be mindful. And of course, the persistent theme of all of my shows at the beginning, of course, are those crucial health messages. These health messages are given because I've seen the stats and they make for uncomfortable reading. Very uncomfortable. It suggests, the health messages suggest that we have not been mindful to take care of our own health. And therefore it has implications for our children's health. Because once you develop habits, poor habits as a child, you take those habits into your adulthood. Because it's an absurd situation to have the majority of particularly our women who are overweight, obese if you like, and too many are morbidly obese. Far too many, in building up health consequences for their later lives. There's no such thing as thick bones or that nonsense. It's simply self-control. Self-control. And too many men, of course, were not being ambitious enough for themselves, their families, for their community. That's a big impediment to progression. Significant impediment to progression. And that must change. So I want to be emphatic about these words, because not to be otherwise will suggest that I'm compliant, and I am not compliant. So we're going to start. Let's start, Let's start with the health messages, because these health messages have got to continue to resonate with those of you who are on the borders of a range of conditions I will mention in a moment, and those of you who are not, but to stay in the safe area means you've got to work on yourself. Love yourself enough to take care of yourself. So let's begin with the health messages. I ask you to consider the amount of sugar and salt that you add to your foods, or you're consuming indirectly through food prepared for you. I ask you to consider particularly sugar, which is one of those very seductive additions to our diet, because the chemicals in sugar are very similar to the chemicals in our brain, the pleasure centers, the pleasure chemicals in our brains. So it's an ingredient that we can quickly become addicted to. And those of you will remember a previous guest of this show, Lyndon Lizard, and he pointed out, despite being a chef, yeah, and he understood food, he himself has diabetes, not paying enough attention. Yeah, but what he's able to demonstrate is how you can control the diabetes. Yeah, and diabetes is primarily caused by our inability to process sucrose or sugar. In other words, the effects of sugar on our bodies as a result of us not processing. And the principal processing chemicals is, of course, insulin. I paused there because I wanted to sink into people. In our community, we are way above average numbers of members of our community suffering from diabetes, which is a directly result primarily of our diet and lack of exercise. So I ask you please to consider the amount of sugar that you are ingesting on a daily basis. I no longer purchase sugar from the grocery store. Yeah. And yes, it was at first, it was quite challenging because, I'd been programmed as a child to eat sweets, you're given money to go to the sweet shop, Yep, those habits, yeah. But once it was clear to me of the likely long-term damage that sugar would have on my physiology, my brain, indeed on my lifestyle, yeah, I made a promise to reduce gradually the amount of sugar that I consume. That over time, I no longer crave sugar. I can be presented with a plate yeah. And I've found a technique to combat this sugar urge is this. This is what I do. I think 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No. And in doing that exercise, the exercise promotes mental discipline, because that's what this habit is, this lack of mental discipline, much of it. Mental discipline. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No. Once that was clear and it's been embedded as part of my general habit, whenever I encountered a habitual behavior, I'm back in control. Remember, success is ours for the taking. Mm-hmm. And I know that there are thousands of you who are borderline cases of diabetes, okay? It's your choice. This is not a command from me, okay? It's not a command. I ask you to consider the amount of sugar you're ingesting. I would recommend, I'm not an expert, you speak to your doctor or nutritional pharmacist or nutritionist, yeah? They're the expert. But the recommendation is gradual reduction over time, deliberate reduction over time. Okay. I urge you to hear this message and pass on the message to other members of your family, your friends, or your wider networks. It is mission critical. I equally ask you all please to consider the amount of salt that you ingest. And salt is one of those insidious ingredients, but often you don't always realize it's there. But often when you're cooking, you believe you have to add salt in order to enhance the flavors of your food. That is a complete fallacy. Yeah, it's a complete fallacy. It is not true. I repeat, it is not true. I ask you to consider the amount of salt you're ingesting. Again, gradually reduce the amount of salt you add to your foods. What's particularly concerning about salt is that you can often consume it and not realize it's there because it becomes such a habit, you kind of tune out of it. But the hardening of arteries, the raising of blood pressure is a reality. Yeah, heart conditions is a reality. Yeah, and I bet that each of you here knows someone with either diabetes or hypertension or high blood pressure. Yeah, they pervade our community, those two conditions, but they are fundamentally lifestyle conditions. It is possible to avoid them, or at least reduce your risk of getting them. I urge you to reduce the amount of salt in your diet. I equally ask you to consider the amount of fat and carbohydrates that you consume. And carbohydrates are typically acquired through either wheat products, okay, although some of these root vegetables, I note some, particularly the potatoes and the yam. And I know I can hear the cry from my West African cousins, root, yeah. I know the yam, we have this in Caribbean as well. Why, I understand. Yam in fair proportion, okay? But the carbohydrate we store, in our bodies, we store it in our bodies. Fat, of course, is another one. Oh my gosh, fat from the meat. What do? Do you fry it in fat and fill it up with fat, or do you grill it and let it drain off much of it? Okay. But seriously though, these two additions to our diet, the excessive consumption of carbohydrates, and of course the high level presence of fat in our diet, is killing us. I remind listeners and viewers, of course, dairy products is just another form of cow's fat. Cheese, it's simply hardened cow's fat. Yeah? Butter, margarine, not so hardened, so you can spread it on your bread and use it for other purposes. But just another form of fat, animal fat. And if you consider there are so many members of our community are overweight, okay, with the bloated shoulders, the bloated abdomens, the bloated thighs, the bloated buttocks, yeah? It's primarily caused by our diets. I ask you to consider the quantum you're consuming. And if in doubt, please speak to your GP, speak to your doctor, speak to your nutritionist, your nutritionist pharmacist, yeah? They're the professionals. They'll provide you with the best advice tailored for you. Depending on your height, your girth and so on, they will tailor the advice especially for you. And what the experts are very clear about, they want us to encourage us to eat far more fruits and vegetables. Okay? When I say vegetable, particularly green vegetables, but a broad range of vegetables, which does include root vegetables in the right proportions, of course. Yeah? Far more fruits and vegetables. Yeah? Drink appropriate amount of water each day. Now, I'm told by the expert between 2 to 3 liters. That will vary depending upon, again, your height and your girth, your waistline. It really does depend upon those factors. Again, if in doubt, speak to an expert. Okay. But what all the experts are very clear about, in order to combat diseases, in order to promote healthy lifestyles, in order to boost your immune responses, not only should you eat far more fruits and vegetables, drink the appropriate amount of water, they encourage you, please, to exercise. Yeah? Exercise is absolutely crucial. If you're not eating the appropriate amount of fruits and vegetables and drink the right amount of water and not doing any exercise, that defeats the whole object of the exercise, he says. Yeah? It defeats it. You've got to exercise. Okay. I would always encourage you, if you've not exercised for a long time, seek out someone who, who's in, who knows and understands what is an appropriate exercise for you. Always be cautious. If you've not been exercising for years, I know some people have not exercised for 10, 15, 20, or 30 years. How ridiculous, huh? How ridiculous. Then expect to have a healthy lifestyle as they enter their middle and later stages in life. It's highly improbable. Not impossible. I've met people who've smoked 40 cigarettes a day and are fine. But for every one of that person, I've met 100 or more who suffer serious health consequences. So I urge you to exercise. Okay, and that can take different forms, I realize, but seek out advice. I'm not an expert, but I've seen the figures. And these activities in our community are way below the average. We need to get it above the average. We should exercise more, yeah? Eat far more fruits and vegetables. Drink the appropriate amount of water. Here's my water here, yeah? And of course, exercise is, I've got my weights here. Oh, I love my weights, I tell you. Okay. Empress Abner is not with us at the moment, but don't worry, I need to get her exercising. Oh yeah, Oh God, love those weights. Love those weights. After a good run and then do the weights is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So just be aware. You have got to take care of yourselves. Yeah. You are ultimately your own champions for your good health. And I'm aware, having done this now for a few years, that there have been thousands of you who have responded to the message and understood its significance for yourselves and have understood the significance for your loved ones and your families, okay? And are practicing good practices to stay in good health. So you can promote a long, healthy lifestyle into your middle and later stages in life, okay? That's all we want. I'm not being paid to do this. Let me just tell you that. Yes, I'm an elected official, but I see the figures, and the figures make for uncomfortable reading. We can, please, we must do better. All righty, I'll ease off you now, okay? You heard the messages, and I appreciate the fact you allow me to get into your homes and repeat these messages week in and week out. And I understand it can be hard-hitting, it's uncomfortable. I understand. But you understand, of course, the necessity for repetition. Okay, thank you. All right, let's move it on now. So I want to get on to what will be a really interesting show today on a subject that is close to my heart because it reflects my sort of childhood formation, Yeah, what we're about to discuss, in fact, let me put it on the screen. Oh, can I put it on the screen? There we go. Let's try if this works. Oh, there we go. I think it worked. There you go. We're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, reggae music. We're going to talk about an era of reggae music, which, oh my gosh, from an emotional point of view, wow, lovers rock. Oh my God, and I hope if I got my guest here in the oh yes, my guest is in the waiting room. I'm going to bring my guest in, and we're going to start the interview very soon because this is going to be a fantastic occasion. Let's see if I can get my guest in. We need to do our sound test very quickly. Let's get it in. Let's see if it works. Oh, it worked. First time. There you go. Ah, Colin, can you hear us?
Clear. Can you hear me?
I can. You need to talk with a gusto, Colin. Let's get your voice. Let me adjust my settings here. I need to hear you because this subject is going to be fantastic. How are you feeling today, Colin?
I'm good. Thank you.
Aha. Okay, the slight delay on your signal. Let me just adjust here. I think it's your end on this occasion. I think that's your end. But don't worry. We'll cope with it. Now then, I'm going to. quickly introduce yourself. And my co-presenter will join this interview, Empress Abner. Okay, so Colin Brown, okay, of the how do I best describe this? Reggae Fraternity UK, or yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a member of Reggae Fraternity UK, to the reggae community, the reggae here in the UK. Because people are artists getting ripped off, just the same old gripes that people years with the music business. So by artists for artists to support. That's what we're about. Contemporary. So it's about we've aligned ourselves with the PRS, PPL, and those organizations, the bridge between those professions and our community.
Thank you, Colin. Now, there's a slight delay on our connection with you at the moment. We're about 2 to 3 seconds behind, it seems. Can I suggest that it might clear itself up. If you disconnect and reconnect again, let's see if that clears it up. Because that delay might be disconcerting, I think. Okay. So whilst Colin is doing that, it will log off and then log back in again. Hopefully, a simple approach to resolving that problem. Okay. So this will be interesting. So what we're going to do is review the history of lovers rock music. I say this, some of you are not familiar with the Caribbean music form known as reggae. Okay, and those of you who are not familiar will be aware reggae in the UK versus reggae in the Caribbean, and more specifically Jamaica, as sometimes takes different turns. And in the 70s, there was a period which we refer to as being the lovers rock scene. Colin, you returned. How was that?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Oh, that's an improvement, but your signal is still a bit grey now. I've got all bars at this end, but yeah, it's apparently where you are. Don't you worry. We'll just have to cope with it. Don't worry. We'll have to cope with it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, Colin, you and I spoke earlier this week, okay, and I don't mind admitting, it was as if I was speaking to a long lost brother. You know, you and I, of course, are roughly the same age, so we went and visited the same places here in South London, and I know those of you of a certain age have now started smiling. Okay, because we can remember what it was like in the 70s and 80s. And these, of course, God, were our formative years.
So,
and
yeah.
yeah, it was really interesting. I'm from the southeast London side, and again, those of you of a certain age will recognise, therefore, from Lucian side. And you're from what I would call the southwest London side. I always thought very green over there. And I was Brixton and Clapham. You're laughing, huh? As I said, it's fascinating to talk to you. I felt it was like a long.
The world seems back in those days is different, long way away.
Well, indeed, it seems as if you were in a completely different, almost country, you know, and we
Absolutely.
And we were speaking for 20 minutes or so, and I couldn't stop laughing. I felt as if we had far too much in common. It was uncanny, really, much too much in common. And our principal area of common interest, of course, is our love for reggae music. Yeah,
absolutely.
And specifically our love for the lovers rock era of the music. Okay, and before you came, I did want to say one of the reasons why I want to do this show, And I mentioned earlier on that we want to talk about relationships, okay, and how young men, young women should meet and find the opportunity to create a union. And in those unions, we should therefore nurture our children. If there's anything I'm aware, is that the Lovers Rock era was responsible to create many, many babies. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah,
In love, I might add. Many, many unions. And we want to encourage. Sorry, Cardi, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how people meet now. How you know the opposite sex. In those. I mean, it just seems to be doing their thing and they're doing their thing. I'm not sure how they come together. No, I'm not in the loop, but that's an obvious. Might be incorrect, but
no, you make a good point. Because it's because the music forms today are very different. In our days, of course, music not only was it bringing together both men and women in love and unity. Of course, there were social messages that were being communicated about the commenting on the day. And those social messages were really quite profound. Really quite profound. Okay. So my first question to you, and this goes back to what I've said. So we chatted earlier this week and discovered as South Londoners, there you are, in unity, there you are, as South Londoners, we frequented the same music venues, okay, and we called popular sound systems, there you go. Now, they shaped our present worldview of the many reggae artists and sound systems. Which of those reggae artists and sound systems influenced you the most? Who were the most influential to you?
Okay, so because I'm from the sound system, and in order to do what at the level that I was doing, I mean, if talk about sound systems and sound system, I use and say like there was a premiership systems that were in the premiership. So those are the top sound premiership. Your Coxsons, and then you had another aspiring to get into the premiership. Just so we were a sound that was to the next level. So we were doing commitments in terms of time to the next tier. We were getting sounds. For example, we played. So I was on the Lewisham Way. So we went into street. Playing sax. So we held our own then. Played in them as well. Played sax. But so my I'm listening to session tapes because I spent a lot of time listening to session music that was coming over from Jamaica and on the sound system. So the influence that there was two types in Jamaica. You had the slack DJ. We were more into DJs. So my favorite Jerry, that's Sister Nancy, who so some DJs jumped from the topic within one but Brigadier Jerry would tell his MCing on a sound called Jalab. So that was more of a rush, and I think I was more inclined.
Sorry, yeah, we've got some issue with your connection. Yeah. I'm wondering now then, I'm wondering if there's a delay on your mic somewhere. I just need a setting on your mic, I suspect. I just want to check on your mic. There's a setting where there's slight reverb on your mic, I think. Trying to compensate. Hold on. Yeah, but I've got maximum bars at my end. So it's, I know it's not mine. And yours appear to be, it's a sound, you've got a sound setting. You're the technician, I'm not. So, yeah, okay. I wonder if you've got that right now then. Oh, you've changed camera.
Is it any better?
Oh, that's a bit better. You've changed camera. We're looking at your what's just above your head now.
Okay, I've just got into the settings. Is that any better?
Oh, the sound's improved, but you're no longer in the center of your screen.
Smooth. Oh,
I think you're using a different camera now.
Why has
No?
that changed?
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
It's gone to a different camera. I'm not sure why.
The camera, yeah.
It's a sound.
What you have around you?
Better?
Yeah, okay. We're just going to have to make do with it. The sound is not quite as we would expect it, because your setting, it's interesting. There is a slight delay and the quality is declined, but it's, we'll have to, I think we just have to make do with it. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, so tell us, Colin, don't worry, tell us, Colin, about the various sound systems and artists who for you have been the most influential.
The MC side was in trying to hold our own. We were so that means a lot of the roots stuff and rubber dub style. We weren't just prolific sound in that we did just do one discos as well. I had a broad range I would play. For example, I could do and then I would finish at about 11 o'clock and play our communities. So I had a broad range of pop music, and as a DJ, you don't just play the music, but you're into the music. What music is going to get the audience. So yeah, so we've got with sound systems. So as well as the rubber dub side, we were a sound that attracted many females. We had to be, because one of the things that the ladies used to say, you don't want to hear a lot of that boof. So that meant they wanted something smooth. When the Lovers Rock came in for us, and obviously the R&B or soul as it was at the time. We listened to our all mainly females. So yes, we would do some of that. Lots of party gigs. So we were playing a lot of the when you're on the Lovers Rock tip or mellowing out there, because you as a DJ, in the sense of playing music as opposed, you want your audience and making sure you're entertaining your audience. The things that we were known for being responsive to an eye on them and making sure that they were having a good time, having a broad, a nice, very, very important. Yes. So the artist is
I totally agree with you. I think, Colin, on your end, you seem to be transmitting via a single channel, your right-hand channel. The left-hand channel is not transmitting. I think that's the problem, I think. is checking my board. We're just getting through a single channel. There you are.
Okay.
So it's yeah, that's what it is. So it's just the right channel apparently we're receiving on. Okay, so whilst you're doing that, let me just ask this follow-up question. So what is the difference between reggae in Jamaica and the music in Britain? Yep. And how is the British love of rock style distinctive from what was being played at the time in Jamaica? What are the sort of characteristics of the lovers rock genre?
Yes, it is. But in general, we talk about reggae being made and being lovers rock. So pre 77 was concerned, and they were just making reggae, either romantic reggae or centre. If the reggae with a message, it was either termed sentimental reggae. And I think people, us or even the Jamaican came over, we tried to emulate the Jamaican sound. So I would, if we look at say 19, I was 15. I was born in 19. You look at people around my sort of age group, still learning from the Jamaicans. We're still in this. We're learning about this thing called reggae. So guys starting to. The first thing you're gonna try to emulate what's coming from. We had lots of artists. Some were coming to and fro, backwards and forwards. Top producers and forwards, being hired by Trojan. So initially was the Brits, us Brits. Certainly we were trying to emulate the Jamaicans. The early lovers rock, very, it could have come from Jamaica. And when you read what he's written, certainly as a band, one of the things that they were trying was back Jamaican artists when they came to have the Jamaican sound. Matumbi really sounded like it wasn't. And this reading there is that, when this was written, one of the things that he with his early recordings, press is 7 inches, and without a middle.
Yes, so, that's right. Yes.
So over here they came with a middle when they pressed, got himself a punch to make it look as if the records that he was making.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It is true. I remember.
Yeah. So the early what was trying to be done over here was neither bands or a number of bands that they were really the band of choice. So they wrote this for themselves, Jamaican sound. Now, us that in schooled by the top musicians from as we get into we're starting to get a certain amount of playing our instruments, you from whatever you think, and so starting to come out. I mean, one of the things Dennis mentions with regards to Silly put that drum pattern together, it was unique.
That's right. Yes.
And that's and you're young and whatever, you're trying all experimenting and whatever. So the it was a very much a pioneer to the sort of upper 70s British born. We understood what the Jamaican certain amount of belief in ourselves. And certainly when the producers look at Neville King and the productions label,
Right.
which was pre the Lovers Rock label, Neville King had a distinct sound, and it's a sound than what was coming from. One of the things that I asked, the same between British Lovers Rock and Yard Lovers. One of the things that Clem Bush is responsible for the Mux material, and he chords that we use. But having said that, I put to Clem the fact that that's Phil Calendar, Baby My Love. He used the ink.
Oh yes, Baby My Love.
Absolutely.
Get me going now.
So the ink crowd, what the ink crowd did was as Lovers, really distinctive. It made a good coded sound, and used the ink crowd on 66th Street. Phil Clem had made us didn't really know how to play Lovers Rock. Well, hold on, Clem, you are on 66th Street. They're a Jamaican band. So what? How? So he said. Well, so he said the overdub he did after they laid the initials that gave it that Lovers Rock sound. So I said, I think it's.
Can I just add to that, if I may? But that's a really interesting narration of the distinctive beat. A really distinctive beat, which and Phil Canada is a good example. A person I mentioned earlier this week, of course, is Louisa Marks.
Yeah.
I recall, my very first song of hers, I recall, is "Caught You in a Lie."
Absolutely,
a true classic. A true classic. Go ahead. Uh-huh.
Yeah, if we spring from obviously Castro's label, his magic there. Now from Dennis's stories, that was Curly Locks was the Junior Biles. Curly Locks.
Oh yes, Curly Locks. Curly Locks. The diamond jewel. God.
Yeah.
I'll stop singing.
That was a big tune. Petition. With at the club one of these competitions, and Louisa.
The club. Oh, okay. I'll stop singing. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So they was the winner. They and a record deal. Sure that the song that they wrote. So because after Dennis Bobble says he used that as his reference, he got the crowd going. So
yes, he did.
I think
yes, he did.
He started off "Caught You in a Lie," making it sound like, and then he switched, so people would thinking that he had that curly lock changed into the sugar coated. Yeah, so
it was beautiful. Of course, but Colin, of course, in those days, men and women, boys and girls, would dance closely together,
yes.
And they are in loving embrace and dancing. And often they don't know each other, but they're still in loving embrace,
Didn't know.
See, it was quite astonishing. I'm recalling my youth now. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely wonderful experience. I've got to tell you, loving embrace.
you can go into it back in the days. If you went into a blues dance, so and I wasn't praying that someone would light up so I could see one. It was, in a room that was,
Shh, don't must be disrespectful. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you couldn't step on a man's shoes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, was that one of the biggest sins? Hold on, let's look at this into a blackened room.
Yeah.
A space.
Mm-hmm.
Where and I've got to get from A to B without stepping. I can't see where I'm going.
I remember many occasions. Yeah, many occasions.
It was a
toes.
you couldn't step on them. Dress very stylish in those skins, all kinds of different expensive shoes that we. It's a different experience now.
Very different experience.
Going out in jeans now, I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's another marker that we dressed so well, did we? We dressed so well.
Oh, wow.
We dressed well. Yeah, can I just take you to other artists? Of course, I mentioned Louisa Mark. You mentioned Phil Canada. Susan Cadogan is another one that springs to mind. As being heard so good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again,
he springs to
so
mind.
that was the same owner of the Lovers Rock label, Paris.
Yes,
that was his label. Lee Perry. I think for us, seeing TV on top of the pops, was hearing a female singing reggae, and she sang it with that. It was a very, very, So it's like, wow. So reggae community, because remember, when Black onto top of the pops, it was mainly Americans at that space. So to see a reggae sort of lovers tune, that was and she, to this day, a lot of time over here as well.
Okay. Now, can I just say again, on your side, you do seem to be speaking on a single channel. It does appear.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the left-hand channel which is distorted. This is why we're getting slight distortion on your voice. But don't worry, we'll keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. So we set the scene for the Lovers Rock style. It was a very distinct. It was a powerful music form, and it most certainly promoted love and understanding, unity between young men and young women. Okay, in a form that I've not seen since. I've got to say. Okay, and it most certainly was an antidote to the more anxious or other more aggressive feelings that some people might have possessed. Going to a Lovers Rock venue was a place to find a release, without feeling, you no longer needed to feel so tension-filled. You could release yourself and really absorb the wondrous music that is reggae Lovers Rock style, And I would, we mentioned a few artists so far, and there are many we should be mentioning, but we keep going. But before I do that, and I'm just conscious of your time, I wanted to just ask you about the Reggae Fraternity UK, why it was formed, and what is its mission.
Yeah, so we this UK artists and musicians, artists and musicians. So we provide a bridge between stream organisations, so the Musicians Union, PRS, PPL, so like organisations that support our community or the reggae really engaged to be with those organisations. And it's a shame, things like royalties. In
Yes.
order to understand how the industry works, you get yourself educated. So one of the things I want to do, or we try to do, is to link with these organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
really
So
to
in
improve.
yes, so in other words, to professionalize the sector, because it does seem quite astonishing to discover that many of these classic songs were not copyrighted, and indeed the artists were not being paid. I find that reprehensible. There's some wonderful classic, and I could start reading them all off, but I'm just conscious of time. But there are some absolute classic songs that if all being fair, these artists should be multimillionaires because they were so popular at the time. How it is that they were not being paid, I just do not understand. So it's quite evident that if there was to be a resurgence of the lovers rock style of reggae music, it must be in a new professional context, and I hope that the Reggae Fraternity UK will assist with that process. So, in terms of your support, what level of support do you have from the industry, from artists and others?
Oh yeah, from artists, support from artists. Cass was at the very first meets helping out Janet in terms of from the top echelon, a lot of support they've been involved with as well. So name all the top artists they've lent support others to support what we're trying to do. Paid, we're just passionate about and time and energy to try and bring them into the industry perspective, and just trying to encourage others skills. Many of us, so we bring those that to our artists of music. But we're trying to, as you say, raise the standard. We don't repeat the and that's where people are not signing contracts and don't nuances and also are able to say, people come to us as, can you tell me about this producer? Can you tell called label what they like? So we can say whether or not people that either one that they should get involved with. Yeah, so we do gather data on performance of labels and individuals.
Perfect, and that is absolutely required. I'm conscious that there are some budding artists who see this video or listen to us now. How can they contact you?
Yeah, that's the best way. If you just go to our website, there's a lot of information there. So we're www.uk.com. Quite simple, and just put what your query is. One of the things we've done to reduce the number of we put a number of frequently asked questions, so that actually has reduced traffic because three questions are answered on and that our traffic. So
right, okay.
we'll submit music to get them listed on our website. How do videos listed on our website? Yeah, those are some of the main questions. Also promotion. How can we help them? So all those sorts of questions on our homepage.
Brilliant. In other words, it's set up to support artists so that they, one, are able to be, they're linked to the right promoters and labels. Two, that you're able to give them advice how to promote their songs, but as important, to receive royalties as well. What are the legalese involved to ensure that they receive royalties for their work? Yeah. I think it's such an important step. I'm aware of others in this sector who, you know, Kwaku, I recall, has also been very heavily involved in this sector. Is that right? Are you in touch with Kwaku?
Yeah, so we many events. One of the, I think the Kwaku is International Reggae Day. Where every year we do International Reggae at or we return to Goldsmiths, you know, there in 2019, and in the pandemic hit, and we went.
Yes.
We go back to International Reggae Day, so it's be a conference. We'll have one or two performances as well. Mm-hmm. At Goldsmiths University.
Yes, that's right.
The atrium.
You do indeed. And can you just confirm when is International Reggae Day?
Yeah, 1st of July. It's a rolling, you know, in terms of the cat rolls. But sometimes what we do, we'll we'll do a virtual now we can at the actual day. But then if we want a physical event,
right,
we'll delay that till the weekend, and we'll call like a day extra, and have the on a day where most of our people can't afford to take the time off for the physical meet. This year it falls. So yeah, we're looking forward back to having a physical event.
Okay. So I've got to ask this question. I've got to ask this question. So is there any chance that the Lovers Rock style will become the next best thing, next big thing in reggae music? Will it return, in short? Will it return?
On a way. So I do, as part of the UK, is highlight the amount you might not hear it on mainstream. When I joined UK, was set up in 2015, or even though people were making music, artists and musicians can read it on air or even played it. That's they were issued. Their music played. It's one of the immediately was to try play. As you know, the big national stations have gone away. So all, you know, without that, your income goes down. You don't make those big sales. Challenges that we were immediately faced with, because UK, we had a few town halls, and just they will have your say meeting. The artists and musicians body. What is it that you want from us? Challenges were what we took on. So we've had seminars, station and DJs, and ask how people are making the music, but they can't station. How do we improve the instrumental in trying to improve the tougher nut to crack is the club where are working with the DJs and the music, because they tend to place people are familiar with back from the 80s. That doesn't help someone who's making not getting their music played and and CD as to the music. The radio side, we've made tremendous live side in terms of play. There's still a lot of improving that situation.
Mm-hmm. So you said that the music has never gone away, and I'm inclined to agree with you on that. Don't you worry, I'm inclined to agree. But I'm conscious that our children, are not playing it as regularly as we used to. Okay. And therefore the influences are directing away from our music format, So it is interesting to hear what you say. And I would like to be a part of that revival, the popular revival of lovers rock. Because I believe it's a music form that goes against the common trend, which is for people to dance by themselves. We want music where people come back and we dance together, in close intimacy, so that we can. These young boys, young girls need to come together. I would encourage them to come together, and hopefully get married first and then have babies.
One of the things you have to ask yourself is, people, how do young people listen? They listen to streaming. They don't all purchases or the downloads.
That's right. Yeah.
They don't travel light. So it's important to attract a younger audience. How are their music? How do they do it? So they and they listen to the streamers, Apple Music, platforms. So it's important that our music is on those platforms. For our generation, person picking up a CD, we notice in terms is the playlist is key.
Yes.
Spotify playlist or whatever. I've curated a number of playlists. I've got a playlist that was created in so 2010 up to 10. And I didn't realize all this stuff was being made. Yet you can listen for free, or and you listen with adverts or use subscription. But that's how our young want to reach that audience, that your music is on those platforms, and that's what we do in terms of so that people can be discovered on as key.
Excellent. I think that's absolutely vital. I'm just going to repeat your website address so that those of you who want to make contact with the Reggae Fraternity UK organization, the website is, as it says, www.reggaefraternityuk.com. reggaefraternityuk.com. It is a fantastic website. I've got to say, it is a fantastic website, and of course, Lovers Rock. It's one of our cultural features. It's a part of our heritage that we must protect. Okay, I want to thank you though for all of you involved in the Reggae Fraternity UK. The form of reggae known as Lovers Rock. Okay, and I want to commend it to the audience, because not only am I convinced that it was an aid to relieving pressure that many of us were experiencing at the time, not only did it remind us that love is still a big part of our lives, but it broke barriers, social barriers as well, and enabled both young men and young women to come together in unity, As I said, I know it was responsible for many babies being born. That's for sure. Okay, so the work you're involving is a tremendous piece of work. I've already made my donation to you, and I've got to say to yourself and to other members of the organization, this studio is always open to you if there's a message you wish to communicate to the community. Okay.
Oh, thank
That's what it's a pleasure. Is there anything closing that you want to say to us, that a key message that you want the audience to know, particularly for those budding artists and those of us who love to listen to the music?
Really, I would say, really, if you're or the business is the music, so you really need to focus and get yourself of the music business. You're going to repeat the mistakes I did. Get yourself. If you don't know where to go, we've got links to the main organization aligned within. If you've got a more, then just leave it on our chat. But I would say in the music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is brilliant, and I'm really pleased that you exist and provide greater security for the new Lovers Rock artists. I have to admit, I'm not familiar with the current artists. Are there particular artists we should be looking out for that you could indicate to us?
For you, if we go to Wales, in Wales, so she's flying the flag for Wales, CBC in Wales. So go talking about young artists.
Okay.
I've had a look at. I did a little research to find out who I would with regards to. You've got Tasha, artist. She's doing big things. The task of putting. She was given at the Lamb of Country show last year. Okay. A group of young artists, talented, at the Lamb of Country show. That was an amazing. She's a very talented artist. CC Foster, former X Factor contestant. They're and mainly female. Quite frankly, but Royal Sound, young, very talented. Roots. Yeah. Main, I could go on, but got my eye on, and I work closely and make sure that they have and support.
Okay, good. Thank you. Well, that's a few anyway, and I'd have to look out for them myself. Okay, I have to look out for them myself. But I want to again commend the Reggae Fraternity UK organisation. They have their website, which is www.reggaefraternityuk.com. Those of you who are aspiring artists, please contact them, and they will guide you. Okay, provide the necessary guidance. And those of us who are enthusiasts, listeners, we should donate and give support to this organization. I've donated, and I will continue to donate because this is a part of our cultural icons, This is one of those heirlooms that we have to protect, okay? So that it will benefit the next generation. Colin Brown, thank you very much for your time this morning. You provided us some insights as to how we've evolved and continue to evolve as a community. and it's quite clear that the mistakes of the past will not define our future. We are in control. We are in control. Success is ours for the taking. Okay, and at any time, our doors, this studio is always open to you.
Well, thank you very much for that. Of bringing all the I'm in to your listeners.
It's a pleasure. And next time we'll get the sound right. I'm not sure what's up there, but don't worry, we'll work it out, Colin. We're going to get you back in, and this is sure the sound is right. Okay.
Okay.
But Colin, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Okay. Good day to you. And I'll listen on to your show. Don't you worry. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Wow, wasn't that something, huh? Okay. Oh, I believe we've got Empress Abner here. Oh, she was in the wind. I didn't see you in the waiting room, my Empress. I'm really sorry.
No, it's for me not coming up earlier, coming onto the studio earlier. There was an incident outside my house until 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, no. Oh.
And then my friend wasn't feeling too well, so I said she could come and stay over. So I was kind of tending to her as well. Okay. So apologies for that. You know, she's like my family. She's like my younger sister. So I had to deal with that. So apologies to everyone.
Okay.
The sound is very bad today.
Yeah, I have noticed. Yes, I have noticed today. It does seem to be slightly different, but never mind. I'm just going to do something here. If we just do this quick swell, it could. So that was a quick swell.
I like that. I like that. I like that. It reminds me of when it reminds me of when I used to go to my salsa nights and used to be spinned around.
Salsa nights.
Yeah, there was a place in West End, I think it was Oxford Circus, and they used to have Latin American nights, salsa nights. So me and my friends stumbled on it once. And it was one of the best nights I've ever had.
Okay. Have you by chance, Empress Abner, ever listened to Lovers Rock reggae music?
Oh, who hasn't? Who hasn't?
Oh, okay.
Who hasn't? I had grown up with St. Lucians, Barbadians, Trinidadians, St. Vincent's. Cool. Yeah, you hear a lot. And you're having great neighbours, you hear a lot of Lovers Rock. So, yeah. And, you know, the days when I used to go out, yeah, you hear Lovers Rock.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up the phone lines. Colin had to go slightly earlier, unfortunately, but I'm going to open up the phone lines.
Did you have great health messages this morning?
Oh, I did.
Good.
I did. Oh, gosh, yeah. I would not forget that. There we go. Let's bring up the screen. There we go. Here's the studio number, and I'm particularly keen to hear from listeners and viewers who recall or listen to Lovers Rock reggae music, and we want to know what it means to you. What's the distinctive flavour that Lovers Rock style reggae music provide versus other music format? I'm interested to hear the current commentary. Now, if you're near your phone and you're in the UK, you dial this number 0208 133 5616. I repeat, 0208 133 5616. Or if you're overseas and you are a Lovers Rock fan, or indeed an artist, love to hear from you. And you're overseas, you simply take off the first 0, so it's +44 208 133 5616. Okay, so please, love to hear from you all. We've got a little more time on this occasion to hear the feedback from the audience.
Do you want to sing us a song from your favorite Lovers Rock?
Oh, Lordy, no. I'm gonna.
You know, it's one of those. It's that month, isn't it? It's the month of love. So you know.
It is true. It is.
You know, even though I don't celebrate it, but you know, it is that month for some people.
It is so true. Should I sing? Oh gosh.
We could do some Gregory Isaac. We can do some Sade.
Yeah.
You know? We could do some Dennis Brown.
Yeah, I could do Dennis. Is this true? Or
look at I feel like you're blushing. I feel like you're blushing right now.
or Janet Kay, you know, or Carol Thompson, you know.
Yeah, Janet Kay. I used to like Janet Kay, even though she was a bit before my time. But you know,
Janet Kay, Carol Thompson, absolutely outstanding. Carol Thompson, really outstanding artist, and in fact, she's still singing music right now. You know,
that's good. That means she's. What's the word where she's timeless? That's the word.
Yeah, she's definitely timeless. And her voice, the quality of her voice has not declined. She still has a beautiful tone in her voice, you know. But the more recent artist, who I would put into the Lovers Rock category, is the likes of Chucky Banton. You know, Chucky Banton, you know. Yeah, I've got a few of his albums. I must say, very, very, very talented, Chucky Banton. And the other one who I've known for some years, and he has a wonderful melodic style, and that's Prince Malachi. You know, absolutely beautiful tone of voice, and listen to his music. It's absolutely wonderful. It's just a shame I'm not able to play them because I don't have the necessary setup here to play their music. Okay, but oh my God! But I can cite their names, and I can commend them to the audience. So go find them. You know, Chucky Bunton, Prince Malachi. Beautiful, Carol Thompson, you know, Janet Kay. I mentioned Susan Cadogan earlier on. You mentioned Dennis Brown. It definitely falls into that category, you know. The likes of some others here, remember, like Daryl Wilson singing Lovers Rock Star or Lovers Rock. You know, so there are quite a few that we could cite. But I'm interested to hear from the audience. Okay, so please don't be shy. Just share with us your members of the Lovers Rock time, or if you are curious about Lovers Rock music, reggae music, in the UK, call this number 0208 133 5616. And if you're overseas, you simply take off the zero. The first zero is +44, followed by 208 133 5616. There you go.
How are you, the motivator? How you been? How's your week been?
Well, it's been an interesting week, a week which I believe we've continue to achieve, you know, and I'm really infused for the future. I'm very infused for the future. The future is bright, you know, and I know I keep repeating it, but I've got to keep repeating it. Like the health messages, success is ours for the taking. It's very much a mindset. Once you're clear you want to be and determined to be successful, you adjust your entire being, you know, your energy levels rise, your determination increases, your focus is absolutely focused to be successful. Oh yeah, I'm feeling really good, and yourself.
I'm going to say it's been an extremely busy week. I've got food coming in to donate to my families. Southwark donated some trainers to me to give to my families. And I've got clothes as well being given to my family. So it's been a week of giving, which I love. Giving, receiving, and sharing. So it's been a great week. Busy. I've picked up 2 new languages. I'm learning Arabic and I'm learning my mother tongue again. So I've picked it up. So me and my son can converse in private now without having to use code words.
Ooh. So when you say mother tongue, what's your mother tongue?
So my mum speaks Tree Anum Ewe Ga.
Slow down. I didn't hear that.
Sorry, my mum speaks Tree Anum Ewe Ga. And she speaks 2 others. But I'm learning the main language in Ghana. So more better. So I could be more fluent and speak to people. So I'm learning that currently at the moment. We're learning Arabic better so we can speak as well, more conversational Arabic. So I'm excited about that.
Okay.
So me and my son have put more effort into doing things that we love.
Hold on a moment. That's a lot of learning you're engaged in, huh?
Yeah, I thought this year would be a year of knowledge, power, personal development for both me and my son. He's going to secondary school as well, so so I thought I'll just give him a few things to start him off, and then go from there.
That's the effect of the Motivator Show, where we translate our words into action.
And then I spoke to my friend, and she's taking better care of her health, so she's gone on a different kind of diet. It's like FODMAP, but a bit more harder. That's the best way to put it. So she's trying that. So she has to cut out certain foods to have a better gut, because her gut is affecting her sleep and everything else. So she was telling me about her diet, and more power to her. She's changed her health. I said to her, I'm going to eat what I want to eat because I'm still cute. So,
Empress Abner. You can. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You're young. You're right. Don't you remember you're accumulating problems for later life?
I know, but that's why we dance. Dancing keeps you healthy and strong. So, I'll put some Lovers Rock on today and dance in my living room after this, I'll be all right.
I hear you. I care.
Yeah, of course I know you care, but you only get one life, and I'm going to enjoy it the best way.
But that enjoyment should be healthy enjoyment, though, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it does. But I like to enjoy myself. That's who I am.
I know. I wouldn't.
I don't like to be restricted, as my friends say. I've never been one to be restricted.
I hear you. And of course, you and I share the same view that we've got to teach our children good habits.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my son's eating a lot more vegetables. Everything is, Mum, can I have more vegetables? Are you putting vegetables in this? I'm like, yes, Mr. So.
Oh, good for him. Good for him.
He's trying to eat better as well.
Policies which really enamored me, and why I'm really proud to be a Labour councillor here in London, Southwark. Is that 5, 6, 7 years ago, we did something which was totally selfless. And what I mean by that, it was beyond our sort of political interest. Which was really just for the interest of the people.
Yeah.
We were one of the very few boroughs, long before national government finally understood the reason why we did it, to introduce free, healthy school meals for all primary school children.
Great.
Yeah. We brought it in recognition that if we teach children how to eat healthily as a child, they'll take those habits into their adulthood. In other words, this wasn't a policy that would benefit us for the next 4 years, okay? And there's a big outcome. This is a long-term stratagem to improve the public health of children and therefore the community. Okay. And I recall the debates amongst our Labour group. The next election, the view was that people will not recall this policy. But the argument that was really powerful and overwhelming by the majority of councillors at the time was that we need to look out for the long-term interest of the community.
100%.
Because we had levels of obesity, levels of heart conditions and so on, which are directly related to lifestyle. Directly related to lifestyle. So the adults, the Empress Abner, are a little stubborn. Even though you give them the facts and you display it for them, they're a little stubborn. They say, no, this is what I'm used to, I'm going to continue doing so. But the children were always receptive to common sense evidence, which is why we start with the children. So whilst it's costing us millions of pounds every year, the long-term benefit for the community is off the scale, and the savings, therefore, for the National Health Service will run into billions. That's why national government started to follow our lead. And even the national government of a different political hue started following our lead because the evidence is overwhelming. You teach children how to eat healthily, exercise regularly, and take care of their mental and spiritual health. You teach as a child, they take those habits into their adulthood. Okay. Now, us oldies, Lady Empress, of course, yes, we're a little more stubborn, and we need to go through a process of self-actualization in recognizing what is good for us. Okay, not what we've always done, but what is good for us. What will stimulate our immune system so it can defend us from the usual germs and bacteria and viruses, other maladies that can affect our physiology.
100%.
We've got to go through that process of self-actualization, which is why the health messages are so critical. Okay, I know it has to be repeated each week, but I've had many a communication from not hundreds but thousands of people who've been affected and now understand why those messages are absolutely necessary. I've met people who now have one of these conditions, typical conditions, diabetes or hypertension, or they've got heart conditions and so on, or they're overweight, and they either, many of them now realize that it's decisions that was taken either by them or for them in much earlier stage in their lives. Okay, they now realize that they've now got to change. Okay, and in some cases the change is painful, it's a bit of a struggle, but in majority of cases they understand the change is absolutely necessary for their sakes, their loved ones' sake, for their families and wider network sake. The change is absolutely necessary. We must promote good, healthy lifestyle. Yeah. So I'm encouraged.
I definitely agree with you because I've tried to get an organisation to come in and to do a mum's fitness in my school. And I do think it's important to have a balanced diet. Don't get me wrong, I do eat very well. Sometimes I don't have lunch, but that's just of my own admission. I like to work when I'm at work and I like to be at home. But I do think it is important to have a balanced diet, but also not take, this is just me, taking a lot of pharmaceutical stuff. I think for me personally, I do like black seed oil. A lot of the listeners have recommended stuff to me as well, which I've taken their advice and used because I see a difference than when I take paracetamol or things like that. I notice the difference. And also in regards to preschool meals, I think it's amazing. But to be honest, the portion size is terrible.
Oh, okay.
So I've gone into schools and the kids have been complaining. The kids are still hungry when they come out. They give more food to reception in year ones than to the older kids. Now, no disrespect, year ones in receptions, some of them don't eat a lot and they waste a lot of food. Whereas year 6, year 5, they're growing. They need all the nutrients. They need all the food. And when they're getting one piece of chicken and a handful of rice or a few rice grains, they're coming home hungry. And remember, for some of those children, that's the only meal they are going to get their entire day. So if we're not feeding them proper free school meals, parents might as well start paying for meals.
Can I just say to that, and it is interesting, you recall a guest we had here, Elijah Timor, who's a nutritionist pharmacist, and he spoke about both nutrition generally, but what he also noted is quantums, what we eat per sitting. And it is interesting. What he suggested is that we should be eating no more than a fistful of food per sitting, Now, I have to tell you, up until that point, I was eating the equivalent of 4 or 5 fistfuls of food per sitting. Yes,
you're a tall man.
But, there you are. It's the habit I'd formed. And what he pointed out is that we all eat far too much. Yeah, much of it is just simply we're urinating or defecating it out. We eat far too much, but we've got in the habit of eating far too much. Okay, so I've been gradually reducing my meal sizes. Okay, but I've not yet seen any evidence that the advice that we receive from the health expert is wrong in this regard. Okay, and very often our resistance is because we formed habits, and now we've been asked to change. Okay, so gradually I've been reducing it, but I hear what you say about the children. I think it does vary from school to school. I've visited quite a number of schools in my time. It does vary from school to school.
It does. But I know a majority, like, I remember I work in the community, not just in John Ruskin, not just in Keyworth. I have parents, my friends are parents whose kids go to the school. And for me, the biggest complaints that I get in school is how food is really bad. And also the way schools deal with certain behaviors of parents and other children. And this is not because I'm nosy. This is because I have my ear to the ground, because I want to make the community better. And I work loads of other services within the community. And for me, those are really important things. Children are not going to school because they don't feel happy. Mental health is rife between parents and children. So it's not about what we eat, it's about our well-being as well. Absolutely. And a lot of the children's well-being is not good. And also, like you always talking about very, I don't like to use that word, but children who are, their BMI is not correct for their height. There's a big problem with that in Southwark. And remember, parents are a reflection of their children. If their parents are not eating right, their children are not eating right. And that's one of the biggest issues now in our schools, children and their weight. And people commenting on their weight.
I just say to that, because you're spot on, which is why the policy of free healthy school meals was introduced, okay, and why I appear to be preoccupied with this first 20 minutes or so of the program, really focused on these health messages, because we need to hear the messages, and we shouldn't moan or bemoan people in terms of behavior. We've got to help them to become stronger.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing is, I say these two things are very important, because the bar we set now for our children is they take to secondary school, and how they feel about themselves is very important. You know, that as much as we talk about food, well-being is a good thing as well. How a child feels about themselves is very important. Being able to express their emotions in with clarity and in an articulate way, for me, is very important. You know, because we come from households sometimes where you can't articulate your emotions. You're not allowed to. And our children need to do that, because children are leaving education. We have a lot of children missing from education. Attendance is low. Punctuality is low. You know, so school, it means that schools close down. But if we are targeting children in the right way, dealing with parents in the right way, giving them tools and skills to be able to parent and deal with their children, it can make a massive difference.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you, which is why my time as being a school governor for 27 years, it was really empowering both teachers and parents.
And to our listeners, if you know any issues that you've had with your school, because I'm trying to change some things about how school policies deal with certain parents, certain children. If you have any issues in your school and you would like to contact me and tell me, I'm trying to write something that can maybe redefine how schools deal with behavior and policies.
Good for you. Good for you. And I'm going to network you with some others who are engaged in very similar activities, Empress Abner. Absolutely, good for you. That's why you're here. You know?
No, because I know I'm a parent whose child has gone through a lot. You know, with parents, with other children, and if I was honest, there's a way that I would like to deal with it. But thank God, I have Allah. I can't do that, thank God. So I think I've found another way to deal with it. And I think the best way to deal with it is through paper, through experiences, and talking to other parents. So that's what I'm trying to do.
You know, you now take me perfectly segue back to the theme of this show, the Lovers Rock era of reggae music, you know, because that understanding, you know, social maturity, as you're expressing now, is very much embedded as a cornerstone to the Lovers Rock style of music. you know.
I never thought of Lovers Rock like that. I just thought it's, people wanted to get together and be. Do you know what it reminds me of? Desmond's Lovers. Desmond's.
But I do know about Lovers Rock. Let's go through again because it's really, really important. 'Cause I hear what you're saying. Because of course, what you're really saying is that it is very much a social commentary. Okay?
Yeah.
And often members of our community believe that social commentary is set by other people. Yeah. If we want change, we must take control of the commentary. Okay, and particularly commentary that are experienced by our children, and therefore we've got to create and ensure the music forms that they're listening to provides a positive social commentary. And Lovers Rock most certainly provided an opportunity for young men and young women to meet each other, okay, to speak about love to each other, and of course to become one with each other.
But that's why I like these kind of places, because obviously, I don't know if many of you know, but I wasn't Muslim before. So basically, I've been Muslim for 15 years, and I've been to Love Rock events, and there's never issues about how someone looks, how someone presents. Everybody just has a good time. Where I've been to other places, and it's chaos, and that's why I like Lovers Rock events. And that when my Bayesian friends and my St. Lucian friends used to take me out, I used to love that whole atmosphere and the whole vibe about Lovers Rock, and it was just peaceful, and it was, I don't know, it was just nice. Yes. But obviously I don't go to these things no more, so I don't know what it's like now. And I'm an 80s baby, so 80s and the millennium time is very different. So
can I just say again, you're making another really powerful point. You see, this social maturity, accepting people for who they are, so you could enter a place where it's playing Lovers Rock, and they accept you for who you are.
Yeah.
There's no judgment, no opinions. And of course, I'm sure the young men were clearly wanting to introduce themselves to you as well.
No, I don't do that when I'm out. When I'm out, it's the girls, it's all about the girls. You don't talk to mans when you're out with the girls. Don't do that. I have a code. I
hear you. Nevertheless, you see, it's a completely different commentary, okay? Why the Lovers Rock period was a powerful commentary that we were very much in control, okay? And in that control, we must reassert over the music form that our children are listening to and indeed influenced by.
100%.
It's crucial that we take we are in the driving seat, so that messages they're receiving are messages that we, the elders, have approved, because they will enhance our community's cohesion, promote the coming together of men and women, the creation of families, and provide safe environment for our children to be nurtured into.
100%.
This is absolutely crucial.
But you realise there's a lot of music that has played today that we may not really like, but they've all been remixed from the 80s, the 90s. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and he goes, that song you're playing is from Grandmaster Flash. So she's just taken the beat and the background and just added more to it. So everything was remixed. And my mum used to say this all the time. The fashion that you guys wear, I used to wear that. So it's not like you're starting something new. We did it before you. So I was like, okay, Mum. So I just think everything is remixed, because the original, there's nothing better than the original. So
although there are many original Lovers Rock songs which were not remakes. Yes,
that's the only difference with Lovers Rocks. They're not remixed. But other songs now today are.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. I will get more involved with the Reggae Fraternity UK. I've already donated to them to encourage them to keep doing their work, to support budding artists, to ensure the venues are safe places so we can enjoy pure, loving music, and provide an opportunity for those who are entrepreneurial to be able to promote the music, and there's a commercial return. It's cyclical, and that's the way in which we will grow as a community. So I'm really encouraged by it all. Really, really very encouraged. Now, I noticed we've got some interesting commentary in the chat. I see.
I can't see any.
Yeah, I can see it over here. I can see Anthony. Anthony, why don't you just call him? Because Anthony and Lloyd.
Can I see the messages? Because I used to see the messages. I can't see them.
But it should come up on your screen, or maybe because you came in after, I suspect.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, but I would encourage them. I'm going to write a call studio because they've got a lot to say, and I'm interested to hear them, in real life, as it were, because it's this. I know this is so much the sign of the times by messenger, but I'd like to hear people, hear what you've got to say. So let me just read out the text I've got here. The system texting I have there.
I love texting, love WhatsApp.
I know the sign of the times. I know.
Love that generation.
Now, this person, what's her name? What's her name? Did she say her name? Let me just scroll down. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Is this not Beverly? Is this? I'm trying to read what she says here. But anyway, I won't quote her name just yet. But what she says is this: that I'm correct that the Lovers Rock era was expression of pure love, where men and women certainly were able to speak to each other in ways that doesn't happen today. She says, she says it. But as Colin said, and you must forgive me, I won't pronounce your name, but it's I'm not able to, and I don't want to do it misjustice to it. So, but I did read it out. You know who you are. I would say to you though, and Colin has said it, that the Lovers Rock music has never stopped being produced. It is there, it continues. I quoted a few contemporary artists. I mentioned, for example, Chucky Bantam, for example, okay, who is producing some wonderful music, absolutely beautiful music. And another artist I'm familiar with is Prince Malachi, whose music is absolutely beautiful. And Colin mentioned a number of other artists as well, who I'm not so familiar with, but I would hope that we'll gain the opportunity over the coming weeks and months to interview them. So what to do is just continue the themes about relationships and what creates positive relationships, and this Lovers Rock seems to fit in perfectly, my Empress. Okay, so my Empress. So I know that you care. Okay, you devote a great deal of your time to people. Okay, but I've said to you, and I say to others, you've got to take care of yourselves as well. So what are you doing, my Empress, to take care of yourself?
I have movie nights. I spend a lot of time with my friends, doing stuff with my son, cooking, like I said, dancing around my house. I'm
a man, I like food now. So what tell us about the food.
So I make Pan-Asian food because I really like that. I love Indian food, especially from Gujarat.
Tell me about Ghanaian food. What Ghanaian?
I don't really cook that.
Oh my gosh!
My mum makes that. My aunt makes that. My best friend makes that. I don't really cook it because the preparation time. I don't have time for that. I don't have 4 hours in the kitchen. I personally can't do that.
Modern woman, huh?
My mum can do that. I don't have time to do that. When you've got a child, prayer, studying, I honestly don't have time to do that. So I think when I have a bit more time, the weekends I might, but to be honest, it's not. Like I make a lot of Caribbean food, Pan-Asian, Indian, English food.
So what Caribbean foods do you prepare then?
I make brown stew chicken, jerk chicken. I've made, is it that fish? The fish. I can't say that E word. That fish. I make that. I make curried lamb. Sometimes I make like chicken soup.
Ooh.
So I think anything with Scotch bonnet in it, I really love. I love anything with thyme and flavour. I'm about flavour in food, and I think Caribbean food has a lot of flavour, and I think obviously it has the Indian influence as well, and I love that. So I do a lot of that. I have loads of cookbooks Ghanaian, Caribbean, Asian, Indian, Pan Asian. I do like experimenting in the holidays. If my best friend was here right now, she was like, "But you ain't cooked for me yet." So, but I like cooking when I can, and the holidays are the best time that I get to relax, unwind, and cook. I like hiking.
Oh my gosh! I think she wanted to take you up in hand, huh?
Yeah, so I do a bit of everything. Like I'll try everything once. Like I think this year roller skating is my next thing.
Oh, roller skating.
Yeah.
Okay. What about jumping out from an airplane?
No. In Islam, we say tie your camel. That's not tying your camel. That's tying your death. I'm not trying. No, I don't do that.
Skating then, okay. Let's keep it safe, huh?
No. I do like adventurous stuff, but I'm not ready to do that yet.
Oh,
yeah, I will try anything once, and I think it's good to have that because I think my son I will instill that kind of confidence for him to be able to do those kind of things as well. So,
yeah. It is very important for children that they should have a broad range of experiences. I've found that when I was a youngster, I was a Cub Scout. We always went on different adventures, as it were. I also was a member of the Boys Brigade, for example. I enjoyed all this.
I don't do those kind of things. That sounds like camping, not my thing.
Not camping. Oh, I really enjoy. I enjoyed all acquiring the medals, of various activities you do, skills you need to acquire. The knots, for example, though it was, the knots. I'm not sure they still do it these days. The knots.
I think they do. I think they still do stuff like that.
Absolutely, and it's character forming, and you're able to develop yourself and express yourself in ways that in other environments a child would not be given that opportunity. So I always recommend, because of Cub Scouts have been a really worthwhile organization. And I know that there's some members of the community who said no, and I say to them, well, in that case, set up an alternative that is comparable to Cub Scouts, where it's a child-centered environment, which is centered for their development, set up parallel. I say to you, and lastly, then my interest, and this is really interesting. Going back to the Lovers Rock themes again, if it's a particular style, it's unfortunate I don't have the right setup to play the music.
So I told you to sing.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think the viewers would love to hear you sing.
I'm not sure the audience is ready for me to sing, but I'm tempted, but I will relieve you of that burden. Okay, so I will not sing. Okay, but I might hum every so often. Okay? It's a song you'd like me to hum to. Come on.
No, it's all right. You can. Yeah, you do. You do you.
Okay.
I'm not going to go there.
I mentioned a few artists, and those artists stick out because of the quality of their music. And
it would be nice to hear from our viewers and find out what is their best era of music, or who is a musician that they can what's the word I'm trying to think of? Resonate with. That's the word. Any people that they think their music that they love and they feel they can resonate with, that would be great to know as well.
Be interesting. But specifically, I'm particularly keen, if possible, to hear from those of you who want to talk about lovers rock music as a music form, and what impact that music style had on their lives. I can attest it had a profound impact on my life. And it came at an important period, a really important formative time. All too often, as teenagers, we're not taught, or we don't discuss what it is to love. We're so concerned about ourselves and so on. What is changing, but we don't talk about love and what it means to rise in love. and the lovers rock music, reggae form,
But
provided.
then we need to. Then that will be good because a lot of young people nowadays don't know how to express love or how to give love, and I think maybe lovers rock could be helpful in explaining that because nowadays we think love is gifts, money, or using our bodies, and we were never like that. And I may sound old right now, and I'm not that old, but that's the generation that we're in. And when Lovers Rock was around, people were not like that. Love was very deep. It was with words. It was with actions. It was a lot more than what our this generation are about today. If it's not involving money, gifts, or the body, then it's not considered love. And love is much more deeper than those things.
Absolutely. And you make a really powerful point, and that's the ability and the influence parents have on children's attitudes. Because what you're describing is not the child's fault, it's our collective
100%.
ability as adults, as parents, what we teach our children. Okay, which is why I'm really fixated on the Lovers Rock as a communication medium. So the child responds to its upbringing. Okay, so it is our responsibility to teach our children how to love, how to be good husbands, how to be good wives. So you get beyond the stage of being boyfriends and girlfriends, or simply living partners, but you become husband and wives. Okay, the basic unit of any community is the family. The basic unit of any civilization is the family. Okay, the basic unit of the economies of most civilizations are family businesses. Okay, the basic rulers of most societies are ruling families. Okay, so we must make and ensure our families are strong, close, and coherent. All righty. Okay, so that's where time is up now, my Empress. So I want to commend to the audience the Reggae Fraternity UK, seeking to protect our heritage in the form of the Lovers Rock music and the beauty and the majesty of that music and the positive messages it communicates to the forthcoming generations. To rise in love is to be the height of who we are as human beings. So, my Empress, thank you. Thank you for your wise words and your.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And next week is Mental Health Week. So if anybody is feeling under the strain or overwhelmed, there are loads of services out there to help you as well. So please reach out if you're feeling overwhelmed and underwhelmed.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect from the galaxyaffiliate.net network, and I welcome the next presenter on galaxyaffiliate.net. We just do that now. And also then, if you make them, just talk to you just for a moment longer, just to round off our next session. So the next strong, it is hoped that we will have a really powerful sister. Okay, I'm not going to say who it is. Okay, I'm not going to say who it is.
Could be my sister.
Powerful sister. Okay, someone who is very much in the public eye, and most certainly will be a mentor to us all. Okay, as much as I'm going to say. So I'll leave you in intrigue.
Is it my sister?
I'm going to leave you in.
No, it could be because she's a woman in tech.
I'm going to leave you in intrigue. Okay, and I say to the viewers, I say to the listeners of Mixcloud, I say to you all, thank you for viewing this show. Please spread the words, and if you haven't already, please press the like button on YouTube and Facebook, just so we know it's an affirmation. There you are, the thumbs up. It's just an affirmation that the content meets with your expectation. Okay, and of course, please, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're viewing us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, and if you are listening to us via Mixcloud, just press the subscribe button there as well. It's just further affirmation. So, my Empress, until the next strong, I remain the motivator. This is where we translate our words into action.
Peace out, people. Masalama. Bye.
Success, indeed, is ours for the taking. You take care, my Empress. You take care. Until the next strong. There you go. Let's